My pre-grouping fleet of locomotives and rolling stock is definitely growing. Over the past 8 months or so, I've been really trying to build this part of my collection up, and today's video I'm going to be taking you through all of the pre-grouping locomotives that I have to date. I'm going to show you some close-ups of them on the layout, and we're also going to get them running with a piece of appropriate rolling stock, something you might see in the age of steam or perhaps at a heritage railway as well. So for those of you that have seen my recent video, you'll know that I've newly acquired a Hawthorn Leslie. I managed to get this for £67 brand new. It's the Wallaby Australian Industrial Red liveried version, and I picked this up from the Ruddington Model Railway exhibition. And if you haven't seen that video where I picked up loads of bargains, please do check it out. So today's going to be an opportunity to see that loco as well as some other ones in action. The only one from my collection that won't be running today is the Locomotion number 1, and that is because I haven't actually got an appropriate decoder for it at the moment. So if anyone knows a suitable one, please do let me know and I'll be able to get it running. But for now, let's go through the locomotives, and the last one is a little bit of an interesting one. All right, so the first model we're going to start with is this one, and it's the Adams T3 number 563. Now we're going to go in order of build date pre-1923 when national grouping began. So we're starting with this one as it was built in 1893 in real life. It's an elegant LSWR express locomotive designed for Victorian passenger work. It was restored to full working order in a 6-year project that cost £650,000, led by volunteers at the Swanage Railway Trust in Dorset, and is the only one of its kind in preservation. The actual model itself is made by EFE Rail. It's actually my first 440 locomotive in the collection. It has some great features, brilliant cab detail, etched number plates, which is always a nice one to have, a brilliant firebox flicker effect, and it has incredibly detailed bodywork as well. I have noticed some traction issues at various points on my layout, largely down to the design of the model, but also how complex the layout actually is for me. But nevertheless, it's a beautiful looking model and it's added a new dimension to my collection. The next model is my GWR J13 number 1247, and this locomotive was actually completed in 1899, just before the turn of the 20th century. It was designed by Henry Iver. It's a stunning looking tank engine used for shunting work and short distance freight duties. This actual locomotive is another sole survivor and currently rests at the National Railway Museum in York, although it has run during its early preservation days at the likes of the North Yorkshire Moors Railway and the Great Central Railway. This model is actually made by Rapido, and it's my first pre-grouping saddle tank, which I received as a Christmas present last year. It has some brilliant features as well. The detail and the quality is very good from Rapido on this one. It has a firebox flicker, which is nice, but it's incredibly reliable over points at slow speeds, which makes it an ideal shunting engine for the collection. I'm yet to actually give it a proper run on this year's layout, so it was good to see it actually with a full rake of mixed goods wagons, showing you a close variation of products it hauled throughout its working life. Model number 3 is my GWR Y14 number 564. This locomotive in real life was completed on the 22nd of February 1912, and the class were known as the Maid of All Work due to their long service across East Anglia for over 50 years. This locomotive is currently non-operational due to a failed boiler test and is therefore undergoing an overhaul at the North Norfolk Railway. The actual model is made by Hornby, and those who are very into this hobby will know that Hornby are losing money and have faced criticism for overpricing their old tooled models. And even this tooled locomotive is a number of years old now, but it's amazing how a new GWR livery, upgrades to the detail and a reasonable price has made this model fairly desirable as a great budget locomotive. It does have a few missing features such as the cab lighting, but the die-cast boiler and running plate, along with its high-quality paint job and running capabilities, more than justifies the price. I paid less than £100 for mine last year due to Hornby's reward point system and additional 10% discount, so I was very happy, as you can imagine. This locomotive is the Robinson 04, number 63601, but it was originally the Great Central Railway 8K class. It was built in 1912 and designed for heavy freight haulage throughout both world wars and eventually became the L&NER's most numerous goods engine. The locomotive is based at the Great Central Railway and it is undergoing an overhaul, but for its scheduled return in 2027, excitingly, it's going to debut in its original Great Central livery as number 102 for the first time since 1924. This model was actually made by Bachmann. It's one of their older models, which, I'm going to be honest, has a dire mechanism. However, despite that, the model actually runs incredibly if serviced regularly. It does lack a few of the modern features, but with the die-cast running plate and the amount of cab detail it's got for the time it was produced, it's not too bad. I found this at TMC when I went on holiday to Yorkshire last year in the pre-owned cabinet for £88, DCC fitted, so not too bad at all. But I wanted to get the preserved example in this exact livery as my great uncle, who provides me with a lot of inspiration for the short stories I produce on the channel, actually did a driving experience on this very locomotive the first time I ever visited the GCR as a young boy, and I remember waving to him when I saw him on the footplate at Loughborough, so it does have a special feeling for me, this one. The next model is my L&NER J27, number 1214. The actual build year for this specific one that I have is not documented, but they were produced between 1906 and 1923, and they were originally classified as a P3 designed by Wilson Worsdale. They hauled long, heavy coal trains and became the workhorses of the North Eastern Railway and adopted names such as the Rugged Mineral 060s. The actual model was made by Oxford Rail, their first steam locomotive as a manufacturer. For the price, the quality of the model is excellent. Die-cast body and running plate, and the L&NER lined red looks really crisp on this. I found my one on eBay for around £70 a few years after they were produced, and the reason why I've got this livery is because I believe it's the pre-grouping one. I think you can tell by the tender being L&NER rather than just the L&NER lettering. Plus, I have seen and ridden behind the sole survivor of the class in preservation, which is currently based at the North Yorkshire Moors Railway, and I remember it being in a similar lined livery to this one, so one day I would like to get the running number converted to the example in real life, as I like the idea of having models that are the only ones in their kind left in preservation. So, something for the future. Alright, the one that I asked you all to come back for, it is my 040 Wallaby Hawthorn Leslie. And this actual model was completed in 1913, the real life example should I say, and worked industrial duties at Hoskins Lithgow Steelworks before retirement after nearly 50 years of continuous commercial service. And in June 1963, Australian Iron and Steel placed the locomotive on static display at the company's visitor centre alongside some of its other fleet mates. But due to museum maintenance costs, they kindly donated it to the Illawarra Light Railway Museum Society, I think that's how you pronounce it, where it was remained on display in a variety of different liveries since 1979. So, as I'm sure most of you have seen, I purchased this model as a second-hand steal from the Ruddington Model Railway exhibition for £67 brand new. I have never seen a price like it for this spec of model, bearing in mind, new in 2024 for about £126 RLP at the retailers. Honestly, I had no prior knowledge of the locomotive when I purchased it, but I found out it was preserved and I was even more thrilled that it fits with what I model. And the last locomotive in this video today is my GWR Saint class Lady of Legend number 2999. And yes, it is a modern preservation reconstruction completed in 2019, but it is classified as a pre-grouping locomotive as it was built over a 24-year-long period entirely to a 1902 design by George Jackson Churchward. And this model is one of Hornby's new releases for 2026, although lots of people have sadly reported issues with running, connection and tender foreplate causing derailments. But thankfully, I've not had any issues with my locomotive and I've since converted it to sound. And to finish the video, we are going to watch this beautiful locomotive run round the layout and a little bit of sound at the end. And here are all the locomotives positioned at Queensbury Yard. This is going to bring us to the end of the video for today. I've really enjoyed getting all of these out and giving them a run with different pieces of rolling stock. I'm also thinking about which ones I'd like to use in future videos, but let me know in the comments if there's any ones you want to see in particular. But one thing is for sure, I've got such an array of different liveries in pre-grouping locos now, so that's really nice to see. Anyway, thanks again for watching, guys, and I will see you again soon.